Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Sally and I live at 21 York Close. I'd like to speak about item 17 on the agenda, the proposal for SPC to buy the land with the land registry number WSX 99391 and land title Land to the West of Reeds Lane and east of the Ghyll. My house backs directly onto this small area of land that SPC are proposing to buy, and I use the public right-of-way which runs the length of the land. We've lived in our home since it was built 37 years ago, and until this year we have had no direct dealings with SPC. However, this last year has been extremely stressful and upsetting for us and our neighbours with the proposed plan to build a 3G pitch just 15 metres from our property. We now hear that the Ghyll will be appealing the decision to deny planning permission for the 3G pitch, even though there is widespread opposition in the village. At the same time, SPC are proposing to purchase this small strip of land, and this seems more than just a coincidence. We are concerned that should SPC purchase this additional land, you will make it available to the Ghyll or develop it yourselves. Please can you explain why now, after all these years, you are proposing to purchase this land? Please can you assure me that this land will not be developed, nor will it be handed over to the Ghyll to manage? Can you also guarantee that you will not seek permission from West Sussex County Council to divert or extinguish the public right-of-way? It is a great concern that several members of this committee are also trustees of the Ghyll, and therefore those people may struggle with the conflict between these two roles. SPC have stated that their only interest in acquiring this land is to ensure its long-term local stewardship and to protect the continued public access. They also state that ownership of such land is best placed with a local authority rather than an individual or company who are incentivised by profit. It's therefore worth noting that the Ghyll states that it is a commercial operation which operates as a small business. Therefore, by your own admission, they would not be a suitable organisation to be responsible for this piece of land. I'm sure you can understand residents' concern over this matter, given SPC's appalling record recently regarding openness and honesty with residents and the apparent contempt for our feelings and concerns about the future of our public open spaces. You may also understand our concern over SPC's suitability to maintain this land properly, given your actions cutting back hedgerows and trees surrounding the Ghyll field last summer during nesting season without any consultation with the community. The hedgerow that forms a large part of the land you are proposing to buy is full of wildlife. Can we trust the SPC to look after it? I would be interested to hear your comments on the points I've raised. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sally. I'd like now to invite Amanda Roussel.
Good evening, Chair and Councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Amanda Roussel, and I live close to the public right-of-way mentioned in item 17, the proposal for SPC to purchase the land registered as WSX 99391, titled Land to the West of Reeds Lane and east of the Ghyll. Many residents, including myself, are really concerned about this proposal. The land sits right next to the Ghyll field, where the Ghyll CIO are still looking to appeal the refusal for planning of a 3G sports pitch, despite strong local opposition. As we all know, SPC owns the field and licenses it to the Ghyll CIO. Yet it hasn't so far acted to protect it as a public open space for everyone and all to enjoy. Over the past year, the actions of both SPC and the Ghyll CIO have sadly led to a loss of public trust. More and more people feel that decisions are being made without enough transparency and that local voices aren't really being heard. At the moment, there's a lot of speculation around the village about what this land purchase is really for and how it might be linked to the Ghyll site. That uncertainty is causing frustration and mistrust. I think we can all agree that a clear and open communication from SPC would make a big difference. Simply explaining what's being considered and what isn't would help ease concerns and start rebuilding the confidence in the council. There's also an important issue of fairness and accountability, because as we know, 3 SPC councillors serve as trustees of the Ghyll CIO, and the same organisation that could potentially benefit from the purchase. It's important for the community to see that any potential conflicts of interest are being handled openly and properly. So tonight, I'm asking SPC to be clear about its intentions for the land, to declare all relevant interests, and to give firm reassurance that the land will not be passed to or used by the Ghyll CIO, and that the public right-of-way will remain fully protected for community use. Doing so would show some real transparency and would be a helpful tool to rebuild some of the trust that's been lost. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Well, I have all myself taken the time to walk the path that you are talking about with the executive officer. So I'm fully aware of where you are talking about, and I will ask the executive officer to actually answer some of your queries.
Yeah, happy to do so now, and I'm sure we'll cover it in more detail as well when we get to item 17. So in terms of assurances, so the reasons why this has actually come up now and it hasn't been looked at previously is the owner of the land had contacted the council in relation to whether the council would be willing to purchase it. They were surprised to understand that they owned it after being contacted by a resident in the local area. Typically, to provide some background information, across Southwater, where various developments have been built, there will be typically strips of land that get retained by the developer that puts the site together. Now, these strips of land will sometimes or typically would be passed on to the county council as the authority, or the district council, or in some cases the parish council. Southwater Parish Council actually owns quite a lot of land in Southwater, quite a few random strips which can all be observed on our website on our land register list. In this instance, the developer was surprised they still retained it. They've offered it to the council for £1, subject to the council covering the conveyancing fees, so their solicitor costs. Just to be clear, the parish council is not seeking to alter, close, divert or extinguish a public right-of-way. In fact, it has no power at all to do so. It cannot close or extinguish a public right-of-way, contrary to some of the misinformation that's been circulating. The only interest that the parish council has in acquiring this land is to ensure long-term stewardship and to protect the continued public access along the legally designated route. Ownership of such land is best placed with a local authority rather than an individual or company. And at the moment, it's owned by a company that is incentivised by profit. They realise that it's best suited to a public authority. As far as I understand, West Sussex County Council have no interest in acquiring it. As we've seen across Southwater, West Sussex are actually selling off plots of land. One plot of land was at our planning committee the other day where there was an application put forward for a dwelling in Woodlands Way. Whilst there is an element of trust required, which I appreciate might be quite difficult for some of the residents living in that vicinity right now, I have been informed by the owner of the land that an individual has approached them to purchase it. And I think whilst there might be some mistrust, I don't think it is in anyone's best interest for an individual to own that strip of land versus a public authority which can be held accountable. Now, in terms of the value of the actual land, there is a public right-of-way that goes across it, which I've explained can't be extinguished, or it could be diverted, but that would be very difficult to do so. The utility of it is minimal. Actually, there's some liability which I'll cover with the committee later, so there will be costs to it. Having had a walk down it with the chairman of this committee, just a rough count, we've counted a couple trees at the north end. Without taking a topographical study, we're not sure as to exactly whose boundary they lie on, whether the council's boundary or the boundary within the land being considered tonight. And there are a group of trees to the southern end and possibly a very large a mature tree down the southern end. So if an individual took this on, whilst West Sussex are responsible for maintaining the public right-of-way and keeping the route clear, the trees on that route, unless they impede access, will come under the responsibility of the landowner. So whilst an individual might think it's a good idea to take on the land at this point of time, I think if major tree works are required, I think that could be problematic, whereas parish council, district council or county council is best placed because we have budgets that can deal with open space and woodland and trees. So I think just to reiterate the point for meeting minutes, and I'll cover this again when we get to the item, the public right-of-way is legally recorded on the definitive map of public rights-of-way, and that's maintained by West Sussex. All public rights-of-way, once they are legally recorded, the maintenance of them is responsible. It's West Sussex who's responsible, and they'll continue to be responsible for the indefinite future. And the parish council has no legal power to extinguish or divert the public right-of-way. Only the county council can do that. So really, why has it come up today? A set of circumstances where they have been contacted and then have been in touch with us as a parish council, and we're looking at it because this committee this evening can make a decision not to take it on, but I think if we look at this pragmatically and prudently, I think that puts concerns, I think there's a greater risk of it not being taken on, but that's for the committee to decide.
Thank you, Justin.
Mr. Chairman, just as some background information, the piece of land was originally offered to the Ghyll when we submitted a planning application, and we referred it to the Parish Council for them to consider because we had no interest in the land.
Thank you, Councillor Watkins. Shall I ask the other speaker to come up? Yes. Yeah. Can I ask, please, if Mr. Sam Cooper is here? Sam, would you like to come up and join us? And Sam's here. This is now item 16 on the agenda, which is about the first floor up here, Beeson House, Youth Club area, and you've asked to speak. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight. Southwater as a village is blessed with many fantastic clubs, groups, voluntary organisations, but what we're missing at the moment is a thriving small business community. Now, before COVID, there was a business networking group that met once a month upstairs at Lintott, and it was how I started my small business, which has now grown into what it is today. Since COVID, there have been no such things in the village. So what I'd like to propose, and is to be discussed under item number 16, is the creation of the Southwater Business Hub in the room just across us in the corridor. Now, the Southwater Business Hub under this proposal would feature up to 20 desks suitable for co-working and hot desking, plus a few small breakout rooms. Now, not only would this be perfect for people who are hot desking and co-working, this would be the perfect place for small businesses who are flourishing or in their fledgling stage to meet like-minded individuals in the community, to network with those around them. Not only would it be a perfect place for hot desking, I'll be seeking to run weekly networking sessions across the morning, lunchtimes and evenings to cater for all working schedules. I look to create a mentoring scheme between local business people and the schools and colleges in the area, and also run employability and business skills workshops to not only help those who run their small businesses, but people who might be out of work at the moment looking to upskill themselves or look for inspiration for future career paths. Now, I myself have run businesses for over five years now. I'm well placed within the community to get this up and running. I'd be looking to work closely with the Parish Council and all local businesses to get this up and running. I'd be looking to run this as a long-term venture, not only as a profitable business, but also as a community asset to help other people in the local community who are running their own businesses, working for large organisations, looking to cut down on their commute, and also those looking to get into business in the local community. Thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing the discussion. Thank you.
Sam, thank you very much. Well, that is the end of our public speaking session. We will revert back to the other agenda, normal agenda. As far as the members of the public, you're very welcome to stay. It will be some time until we actually debate your item, because as you can see from the agenda, they're at the back end of that. But you are very welcome to stay and listen. Yes. Yes. Right, okay.
Reinstate standing orders.
We will now reinstate standing orders.
Chairman's report.
Right, to Chairman's report, item 4.
Did you want to cover that?
Yes. The only item I wanted to discuss a little bit of an update on devolution. Devolution and the Local Government Reorganisation Survey, an information booklet to be distributed to Southwater households and published on the website. Some of you may have already received that. All residents encouraged to complete and provide their views, results to be considered by the Devolution and Local Government Reorganisation Working Group. Thank you. Item 5, Executive Officers Report.
So just a few updates. Budget setting process for financial year 26-27. So production forecasts and projections for 2026 to 27 have commenced work. An initial draft will be produced by myself and the Senior Accounts Administrator. Budget workshops will be scheduled for November or December and ahead of the next F&GP committee meeting of 17th December, where a budget will be presented with final approval of the budget scheduled for the full council meeting of 21st of January 2026. We had our interim internal audit report on the 8th of October, and the report was circulated to all councillors on the 9th of October by email. The following considerations as suggested and or actions were required by the auditor. One was to consider increasing the delegated expenditure powers within approved budget of executive officer to be commensurate with the council this size and experience of the executive officer RFO, and ensure the IT policy is adopted prior to year end, which is to be discussed at the meeting tonight, which forms part of the new assertion 10 in the annual governance and accountability return. So these recommendations and or actions will be considered implemented accordingly, and I'll look at amended financial regulations to be presented to the next full council meeting. Our aged debtors, just to inform the committee members that a confidential report will be produced for consideration at the next F&GP meeting. This item will be need to consider in a confidential session due to the sensitivity of it. In-house finance training. So I'm currently working on a framework of in-house training with the Assistant Executive Officer. We've been rolling out the new induction training for councillors. We've got a social media training thing that our Community Engagement Officer is working on providing, and then I will be doing an internal finance training session tailored to the specifics of finances for this council, for not just the newly co-opted councillors, but also all councillors. Once I've got a bit more work on that, any members just contact me if you're interested. Grass cutting grounds maintenance contract. So this invitation to tender documentation for the new maintenance contract and grass cutting for the period of 1st of April 2026 to 31st of March 2029 has been published via the Government Public Works Contracts website at the start of October and will run till the end of October, so 31st of October. It's on our website for contractors and anyone else interested. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, correspondence, please.
So regarding item 17, I have already covered this, but just for the correspondence minutes, have been made aware from correspondence that an individual has made an approach to the owner of the site west of Reeds Lane, east of the Ghyll, to acquire the land. And HDC have confirmed additional SIL receipts to be received of £65,958.64, made up of two amounts of £32,979.32, and that relates to the Roundstone development reference DC 240541. Final bit of correspondence which came in this evening. Horsham District Council have contacted us about the parish cleansing grant that we receive each year. They've said that as part of the budgetary process, the District Council is undertaking a review of expenditure to ensure optimal value for money for taxpayers, In light of the forthcoming local government reorganisation and devolution, our commitment to facilitating a smooth transition, we are currently evaluating a number of grants provided by the Council. Accordingly, I'm writing to request a breakdown of how the parish cleansing grant is utilised. Ask for details, so that's something I'll be doing with my colleague. But I think the point of interest here is the last bit of the email. This information will assist us in determining the future allocation of grants over the next 2 years in preparation for local government reorganisation. So it's just something we need to be mindful of in budgeting and whether Horsham will be making any cuts.
Thank you. Moving on now to item 7, the minutes of our last meeting. Basically, it was held on the 18th of June, and the minutes have already been approved at the last full council meeting, which was on the 16th of July. Moving on to 7/2, any matters arising, councillors, from those minutes, please? No matters arising? Thank you. Moving on to number 8, accounts.
Item 17, you're going to bring that forward.
Yes. So should we do that now? We'll all discuss this. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to now move back to item 17, which is obviously 2 persons have spoken about. We're now going to open it up to the floor, and obviously we're going to just discuss that in a bit more detail. Justin, do you want to kick that off?
Yes, so you've all received a copy of the report in the pack, the briefing note, sorry, and copy of the summary of title and the title plan. So I think we've covered this in some discussion following the both residents that came to speak on the item. The explanation I provided still holds true, holds the same. I think this. I think it comes down to really whether the council wishes to take this on. It does come with some liabilities, so there are some trees, so there is going to be a cost outside of this report. So the report confirms that the transfer price and fee is £1, and the fees payable to cover Mileworth solicitors' costs is £1,250 plus VAT. Some of the transfer forms, if the council or the committee resolves to approve the acquisition of this land, I will try and handle as much in-house, but there will be some legal costs on our side as well. Ongoing responsibilities. So West Sussex County Council continue to remain responsible for the maintenance of the public right-of-way. That does not change. And really, the additional exposure to the council will be in relation to some of the trees there. West Sussex will maintain and continue to maintain that route. I think they carry out 1 cut a year, depending on how many, or depending on the works identified by their public rights-of-way ranger. So that will continue. So I think in the interest of long-term stewardship, it's whether the council wishes to take this on or leave it in the hands of Mileworth Limited, which is a subsidiary of the company that owns it, or as advised, that an individual has approached them to purchase it.
Thank you. So, councillors, do you have any questions or suggestions?
Yes, Chairman. I'd just like to open up. I was very concerned that one of the members of the public described that there were people that had contempt for the Parish Council. That's very worrying, because when that is used, it means that people don't trust what is happening. Now, as a background to this, is that what has triggered this is that the Ghyll has put forward an application for a 3G pitch. There have been people that quite rightly want to say they object to it, and there are people that are saying they want to to continue to be an asset. Now, these sorts of debates happen all the time in local government. What you do have, though, is when you've got people that deliberately spread false information about what is happening to gain an advantage. And that's wrong, because it's sabotaging a correct process. Now, the amount of freedom of information requests and the amount of information that the Parish Council have had to submit, and with all of that material given out, I think what a lot of people were hoping for is that they would be able to point to some wrongdoing. There have been many complaints about different councillors and about different people in this process, and nothing has been shown to have been acted in anything incorrectly in this.
Can I stop you there, Councillor Moore? I understand where you're coming from, but this isn't particularly relevant to...
And I'll go back now to this piece of land, and the piece of land is actually because it's adjacent to it. A lot of people have thought that there must be something going on because why would this happen at the same time? This has happened because the landowner decided that they wanted to offer the land to, and initially it was to the Ghyll, but of course the Ghyll could not take it on because they weren't the adjacent landowner, and it made good sense for it to come back to the Parish Council, for the Parish Council to consider it. What I think is necessary is to clarify there is nothing underhand, there is no underlying plans or anything to change this. This is purely that we've now been offered this position of taking this land over. It adjoins and then the land that is currently managed to the Ghyll, but it's owned by the Parish Council, and it makes good sense for it to be one part of land and not of a strip. So from my understanding and from what I can see of it, it in effect tidies it up because it adjoins one piece of land and it prevents strips of land being owned by different owners.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Councillor Brown.
I think we've obviously heard the words trust, concern from our residents, and I do understand how you feel about that. I think one thing I'd like to know is if we could find out the cost potentially of those tree works, and even if this is a decision is made, it would be good to know that before we go ahead. And I think maybe for the public would feel happier if anybody who is on the Ghyll don't vote for this because their land is adjacent to it. Maybe just a suggestion. And I also think, and you're right, obviously, with a public right-of-way, it's not very easy to move them, but they can be moved. But maybe is there some way that we could put a covenant on this as a legal protection so that we're actually publicly saying that it's not going to be part of the Ghyll LMA, to sort of make people locally feel more happy? I don't know if that can be done.
I'm not sure about applying a covenant to the land, but there's no reason why, as part of the resolution, the council gives a commitment that it's not transferred or licensed to the CIO.
I think that would help a lot with the trust and the concern comments that have been made.
Yeah, so I think if a resolution is being considered, then I think we can factor those assurances into such resolution. In terms of getting a cost estimate for the trees, when I walked the route with the Chairman, Councillor Pearce, the extent of cost, if we were to arrange an independent tree surveyor, that will also come at a cost. The only concern I have with delaying the decision would be I have had warning from the landowner that they've been contacted about someone else buying it. So I think whilst a resolution would be helpful, I think we could try and look at entering into approval in principle, subject to obtaining those costs, and I'm sure our senior operations officer can arrange that quite quickly.
I think that would be very helpful.
Thank you, Councillor Brown.
Chairman, I would like to support what Councillor Brown has suggested and what the Executive Officer has said about adding that conclusion to a resolution to any approval. Can we guarantee public access? I think that is obviously the main concern here. And if that could be guaranteed, I think that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Councillor Brown, would you like to make a proposal?
Before you do that, Mr. Chairman, could the Executive Officer also look? One cut a year is not enough on that public right of way. It gets blocked up quite often. It's clear at the moment. Could we also look at probably an additional cut, or getting West Sussex County Council to do additional cuts on it?
So to clarify that point, West Sussex County Council will do, with all due respect, will do the bare minimum. We see this across the whole of Southwater, and kind of also highlighted in the recent survey we did asking for feedback from residents. Most of the comments in there didn't actually relate to Southwater Parish Council owned land. It was nearly always the highways or over verges, which is responsibility of West Sussex and Highways. In response to doing more than one cut, the cuts that West Sussex will do probably will be limited to one cut per year. But if the council did take this on board, then we could certainly look at doing ad hoc cuts to ensure that the route is improved. I think taking a walk with Chairman Councillor Pearce earlier this week, it's evident that West Sussex have done some work, which I think was done after we'd written to them numerous times. But the work that's been done there, I think there could be additional works to improve the route. So in answer to your question, yes. And whilst we have actually just issued our grounds maintenance contract tender, we can either add that on or we can just arrange ad hoc works as part of our woodland and public open space budget.
So, Councillor Brown, would you like to put a proposal of, and am I right in interpreting it that you would support the Parish Council take ownership of it with the actual conditions that you would like
Yes,
inserted?
subject to it not being part of the Ghyll LMA, and it wouldn't be. We have no, we wouldn't be looking to future redirect it, and it will always be open to the public.
Yeah. So just to clarify the proposal of Councillor Brown, so to move forward with the proposition to acquire the land as per the title number WSX 99391 to cover the costs of conveyancing payable to the landowner and the transfer price of £1, with assurances so contingent on no transfer or licence to the CIO and to retain public access in perpetuity.
Mr. Chairman, I second that.
Yes, you second it. Those in favour? 1,
2, 3, 4.
Unanimous.
What about yourself?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. No abstentions, none against. Thank you.
Just to clarify for the meeting minutes, there will be some legal costs our side, and to clarify, we'll obtain cost estimates of tree works required.
I must say, it is very confusing, the name of that area. It took me a long time to work out exactly where it was, because, Reeds Lane and, it's not anywhere near. So I can understand how people have got confused.
Proud Base.
Yeah.
You ask for this.
Thank you, Council. We will now move back to item 16, which we had a presentation from Sam, and obviously it's on the agenda. and it's with reference to what used to be the youth club, the utilisation of that space. I'm sure you've all read through the documents, and 4 options have been presented. And I'm going to ask actually Julie to go through them because you put the document together. Thank you.
Thank you. The Council is being asked to consider approving an option that delivers the greatest long-term value for the Southwater community and aligns with the Parish Council's community-focused mission. The option selected will be the one which is the most effectively provides an area that has high community utility and flexibility for multiple user groups, whilst also reinvesting in the local community. Now, the room has been refurbished, and as of today, it is accessible. So I wanted to give every councillor the opportunity to go and look at that space before we move into discussion. So if we could pause the meeting for councillors to view the area, would that be acceptable, Chairman?
Yes, I agree. We'll suspend standing orders and let's go and have a look.
Your keys.
It's open.
Okay.
Yeah, I have got the keys, but it is open.
Is the floor dry?
Yes. I just need to turn the lights on.
Julie, if you escort them, I'll stay here.